How has our past entrepreneurial history affected our current business and political climate? And what lessons do you think we can learn from all of this?
I look at the last 30 years in America, and I think it's astounding. I think people take it for granted. But in the 60s and 50s, 60s, and 70s, the economy had been very strong, but it was dominated by big corporations and conglomerates and big incumbents. And then that all was challenged. The Japanese and the Germans and competitiveness really drove changes under Carter and especially under Reagan. And then all of a sudden we had this wide open entrepreneurial marketplace with much less regulation. I think what's happened, I think the pace of innovation, the pace of productivity, the new products and services that have come to market every day has been remarkable over the last 3 decades. And I think the growth of venture capital has been remarkable over the last 3 decades. And I sometimes worry that we take it for granted, and we're starting to take it for granted. And certainly the lack of regulation and the relatively open environment has led to some issues like concentration. And some people argue that the big companies have become too powerful. But I don't see that as fully the case. I see most big companies on their toes as never before to stay ahead of innovation, to look out for disruptors, to get their own house in order, to be able to stay nimble in a way that they were not doing in the 50s and 60s. I said the 50s and 60s were great until the 70s came along. And we've learned those lessons now, I think, very effectively.
Now, do you think with our current economy and climate, with inflation, recession, you think the VCs are going to start pulling back on investing in new companies? Are you concerned about that?
I'm not. I mean, it's happening. There's no question that over the last 6 months, there has been a bit of a chill in the venture capital market. I've seen that in numerous examples of that. But the innovation story, the cat's out of the bag on that. And there are new materials, new technologies, new ideas that are still happening that are going to disrupt big companies, and that big companies are going to have to be mindful of. And venture capital, there's still $450 billion in venture capital sitting on the sideline, if not more. And so while there's more scrutiny and more discipline, which I think is a good thing, and maybe instead of getting 6x, some of these venture funds will get 3x and still be pretty happy about it. So there's a little more discipline in the market, but I think the innovation story is still going strong, and it's also growing strong around the world.